everybody.
Hi, everybody. This is Alex from Archer Travel. I am joined here today by none other than Mike Archer. Mike, how you doing today?
I am so good it's scary, Alex, and I want to welcome myself back. I had a hiatus for a couple of weeks where we had Christmas and family in town and all kinds of family drama that goes with. But I'm back in the saddle, ready to go. And I wanted to apologize to everybody to begin with the new move to the new office, the new location, the new media center. Alex and I were working out some technical glitches, so we thank you for your patience in getting us started a little bit. Before we actually get into this, some of you, because we have been off for almost 2 months, I'm expecting that there's going to be quite a few of you who are brand spanking new to evolution and are still kind of finding things and where things live and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to have, Alex, would you please show everybody where they can find not only the manual, which is what, if they haven't downloaded it yet, they're going to need to download it, and then also where these videos are stored once we complete each one. So in case they have to go back and review, they can do that.
Absolutely, Mike, here. So I'm going to take you to your back office, CS4000 here, and you can see we're on the page right now. We scroll down to the Travel Cafe, which you'll see on the left-hand side column in the menu here, Travel Cafe. You click that, it will take you right here to said Travel Cafe. And again, on the left, since we're here on the home page, you're going to click on Trainings Hub. So you click that, and we're going to pull up to this menu right here on the left-hand side of the middle section. You click on Quick Start because we want you to get started quickly here. Scroll down, and you see Sales Training Certification Program Free. Click on that. Now that'll take you to this landing page here, Advanced Sales Training with Mike Archer. That's who we are with right now. And you'll see here a little blurb about his bio, who he is, his credentials. And on the side here, you'll see there is a checklist for the certification. It'll instruct you to download the sales training PDF, watch all 7 training sessions, and then you'll email Mike at archertravel.com for the exam. You score an 80% or better on the exam, and boom, you're going to be in. Congratulations from Mike. Mike emails you your certificate and digital stamp that reads Sales Professional with Archer Travel Service. So you'll see here, there's a button, Download Sales Training PDF. And if you click here, you'll see this orange box that says Watch Certification Videos here. Click on that. That's going to pop us over to YouTube, which you can see every previous lesson that he has gone through, every different iteration, every valuable resource for you to just take in and absorb for free. These are high quality classes and tips and tricks from a man who has mastered the sales techniques in the travel industry, and really they're applicable beyond the travel industry. You can use this in any sort of just even your day-to-day, any other industry. These are extremely valuable tips and tricks that you're going to want to learn and master from Mike here. So again, you're going to go to the Travel Cafe, Trainings Hub, Quick Start, download the PDF, watch the videos, and then email Mike for the exam. So that's how you get it going. Mike, I'll pass it back to you.
Great, thanks. Now, wonderful people, what you're going to want to do when you download this manual is you want to print it out and put it in a 3-ring binder, because you're going to be taking all kinds of notes. You're going to be making your own notations on here. You're going to be adding stuff. So there's a lot that's we're going to throw at you in the next 7 weeks. And I'm sure you're going to fill this binder up with your own notes and even more stuff to come. So having said that, let's move on. Probably a lot of you are wondering why I'm even qualified to teach this class. So we're going to spend a couple of minutes just on my bio and what I think I can bring to the table for you. I'm the oldest of the 4 Archer kids, but I did not devote my life to the travel service like my brothers Ron and Steve did. I briefly worked for the company for about 3 years, and I found that I did not have the aptitude. Um, I'm not the kind of guy that can sit in an office all day long, and that's what I found myself doing. So I really wasn't a particularly effective travel agent, um, but I was a really good salesperson. It's just that for whatever reason, I didn't mesh with the company business. So what I did is I went back into my first love, which was yearbook sales. I have a degree in teaching, and um, and I spent almost 30 years in the yearbook business. I worked for a specialty print house that printed people's yearbooks, and my job was twofold. It was to sell schools on our program, and it was then it was the fun part of the job was going into the classrooms and showing advisors and students how to produce a good quality yearbook. I did this for 27 years. And like I said, it was the high point of my working career. I worked for a company called Walsworth Publishing, which is based in Missouri. And in that 27 years, I delivered to the company over $25 million worth of delivered dollar volume in yearbook sales. When I retired, I had 90 books, and I was doing approximately $1.6 million per year delivered volume to the company. And because of my teaching and trail sales background, and the company was growing so fast that they developed a mentor program after I'd been with them for about 5 or 6 years. And I was one of the guys that was instrumental in helping them develop the mentor program, because the people that we got as yearbook salespeople were very similar to the situation you're in now. Most of our recruitment came from the classroom. And so what we were having to do was train teachers how to be salespeople, and specifically how to be yearbook salespeople. And because of my selling background and my teaching background, I was one of the guys that helped develop that program. And where I got my background was my very first sales job was as an apartment supply house representative for a wholesaler. And he put us through a course called the Sales Training Institute. And that's what this course is based on. And I'll show it to you in a second. But this course was 16 weeks. It was 2 nights a week, and it was 3 hours a night. And so what I did was I took their very comprehensive manual, because it was live training. We were actually in a classroom, and every 16 weeks we had a new 10, 12, 15 people in the class. So there was a lot of interaction and a lot of interplay that we can't do here. There was a ton of role playing. So my first encouragement to you is, after you take a lot of this stuff that you're doing, you need to practice. If you don't practice it, you're not going to use it. So if you are a new Evo agent in a team and there's people that have already taken this, practice with them. Or if you like some of the things that you're listening to and watching, teach them how to do this as well, and encourage them to also take the class so that you can practice together. If not, grab one of your kids, grab your spouse, horse collar them onto the table and practice with them. That's always fun. So that's my background. And the thing is now, one of the things that really got me involved with sales, I didn't get into sales until I was 34. And I was a lot like you. I never really thought of myself as a salesperson. And so for the 10 years out of college, 12 years out of college, I bounced around in a lot of jobs. And I always grew faster than the jobs did, and they always underpaid me. So I started looking around, and I thought, okay, where can I go that I'm going to be paid based on how hard I work and how far I want to advance my future? I wanted an income potential that didn't have any limitations. The only way to do that was to be in business for myself or be a commission sales rep for a company. So that's what I did. I wanted to teach and I wanted to sell. And when I found this yearbook position, it was the perfect match for me. And I made really good money. But what I found was the more passionate I got about my job, the more money I made. The money was a byproduct of my passion. And I'm hoping that that is the same for you, because you like travel and you want to turn your passion for travel into your passion for helping other people to travel. And if you do this correctly, you're gonna start making some good money. So what we're going to try to do in this is, the title of this first lesson is, so you signed up to be an Evo rep. Now what? So one of the biggest issues I had was I never thought of myself as a salesperson. And so one of the things we want to do is we want to flip a switch in your head, in that sales is not who you are. Sales is what you do. All right. So a lot of people say, I'm a teacher or I'm a travel agent, rather than saying, I sell travel, and then follow it up with something lighthearted like, where would you like to go? Let's talk about this. You do it lighthearted. And if they say, hey, I like to do this or I like to do that, now you're off to the races with a potential client. If not, it says, oh, that's interesting, then you just move on. So sales isn't who you are. Sales is what you do. Okay. All right. So let's talk about, how do we flip that switch in your head? Number one, what is your motivation? Why do you want to do this? For me, it was because I got passionate about teaching, and I got especially passionate about teaching kids. All right. I'm 78 years old. I've been retired for 12 years, and I still have a passion for teaching and working with kids. Are you in it for the perks? Are you in it for the money? Are you in it for some other reason? Try to figure out what your primary motivation is. Now, what are you worried about? For me, and I can't speak to everybody else, but for me, transitioning from a professional job into a training job, a selling job, was, I've never been a salesman, and my biggest fear was people telling me no. I'm an amiable type guy. I don't like people telling me no. I want to get along with everybody. And that was my biggest fear. And what converted me, I had an aha moment in my sales supply, apartment supply business. I'm sitting in this beat up old Datsun pickup. I've got 3 kids. I got debts coming out my ears, and I've got a mortgage. Nothing's going right. I'm just getting started, and I've got a truck full of supplies, and I'm sitting in a cul-de-sac with 5 large apartment complexes, and I can't get out of the truck. I am absolutely paralyzed. And I sit there for maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes, and I'm trying to get up the courage to get out of the car, and I'm going, what is wrong with you? You're a nice guy. You've got some really good stuff to sell. And if these people don't want what I have, I'm going to go find somebody that does. So I got out of the car. I made those 5 calls, got 1 small order. And then from then on, in the next 30 days, I made almost 300 cold calls, where I just went and I just talked to anybody that would listen to me, no matter if it was a duplex up to a 40-story complex. And the funny thing that happened was, the less I worried about people telling me no, the less it happened. Because what I discovered is my attitude. I'm one of those guys that I wear everything on my face. You can tell. You want to know something about me, just look at my face. And my wife knows what kind of a mood I am by the way I come up the stairs. So that's how that's how I know what was working for me. And so I quit worrying about it, and I became their number 1 sales rep until I got into a little dispute with the owner, and I went and I found the yearbook job, which I did for, like I said, 27 years. Okay. What sales really is, and what this course is all about, is that selling is a relationship business. Jose's going to pound this into you. I'm going to pound this into you. I know a lot of you are young and you are used to the digital media, but selling is not conducive to digital media. It's, if you want to make relationships, if you want to get a sustained career, not just in travel sales, but in any sales, if you want to have a sustained career, you've got to develop the relationships. You can pretty much sell anything to anybody one time, but that's not where you're going to make your living. You're going to make your living on your repeat business. And my dad taught me one of the most valuable lessons I ever learned in the selling business is Dad had a sixth sense that for some reason got passed on to me. But if he hadn't heard from a client, he was on the phone talking to him. If he hadn't heard from somebody for like 30 days, he'd get on the phone and say, hey, how's it going? You planning on going anywhere? We want to get together for coffee. He was just checking up on his current and former clients to see how they were doing. Because Dad's philosophy was, and he passed this on to all of his kids, what have I done for you lately? All right. And if I haven't done anything for you lately, that puts our relationship in jeopardy. And I'm not about to do that. So I had 90 schools, and I knew where, in my head, I knew where each one of those schools was in the amount of time that I had contact with them. And I would start seeing, well, I haven't seen Seattle Prep in a while. Haven't seen Shoreline for a while. Haven't seen Bishop Blanchette for a while. And so I would make phone calls or send emails. Hey, can I do anything for you? Do you need me to come in for a visit? And just that contact alone established and solidified the relationship. You cannot do this on the internet, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. It'll work in the short term. That I guarantee you, it will work short term, but it is not conducive to your long-term success if you want to be a really good travels agent. Okay. So what are you really selling? And this is something that you really have to understand. Number one, because it's the most important part. And number two, it's going to be on the test. What are you selling? You are not travel. You are not selling Evolution Travel to a recruit. Your first job, first and foremost, is you are selling yourself. That's what you're doing. You are selling yourself. Then you are selling your products and your services. Okay. By the way, you have been selling something to somebody your entire life, mostly yourself. You've been selling yourself to your friends. When you were growing up, you're selling yourself to your teachers, to your coaches, to your friends. You're selling yourself to your employers as you got older and started working. Your entire life, you've been selling something to somebody regarding yourself. What we're going to do now is we're going to show you how to expand your comfort zone so that you can get into selling travel and selling other people to help to sell travel. And that's what this is about. There's a two-pronged attack to this that works equally well. It's selling travel and it's also recruiting. Now, the process is exactly the same, but you might take the strategies might be a little bit different. So just be aware of that. And what we're going to be teaching you is this is applicable across all industries, all selling fields. It's applicable across everything. My job is to teach you the basics of selling things. In this case, travel and recruitment. Jose's job is to teach you the specifics of selling specific things, cruises, all-inclusives, Disneyland, or whatever your particular niche is that you want to sell. I have one guy in the Deep South that sells pretty much nothing but AAA baseball travel for the AAA leagues down there. I have one dynamite person who sells nothing but disabled. I can't think of a better term, but sells physically challenged travel packages for people that will accommodate those needs. I have one that has stuff for like autistic people. So there's all kinds of stuff out there if you want to create a niche for yourself that you're really, really comfortable with. Selling is an art and it's a science, and I'm going to be showing you both. The science of selling is there are specific steps to go through. The art of science is putting your own personality behind the questions and the presentations and the thing that you do. So you're going to take your personality and mesh it with the actual process of selling. So this is the class that I was talking to you about. I'm going to move that. Next time I'll move that further up so you can see it. But it was called the Quad Track program: questioning, understanding, answering, and deciding. And so we're going to go through every single one of these little guys on the train. And it was used with one of my sales training mentor. It was written by a guy by the name of Conrad Elness, who was one of the top insurance producers in the country. And his class was Quad Track Sales Training. And he actually wrote a book called The Inside Secrets of Outstanding Salespeople. So that's where all of this comes from. This is not something I developed. Basically, this is something I stole from Con because he gave me permission. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I want you to go to page 2. Hopefully you've printed this, or you can take a look at the PDF. So if you don't have the manual in front of you yet, you're going to want to download it and go back here and start reviewing from this point on. So the first thing we want to do is there's managing the process, both the order of the process and the timing of the process. So this is how you manage your time. In the old way of selling, this triangle was inverted. The salesperson would spend a little bit of time getting to know you. He'd ask you a very few questions about what it is you actually wanted, and then he beat the living snot out of you trying to sell you what he thought you wanted to buy, and spend even more time trying to close the sale. That didn't work, and we figured out that it didn't work. So the triangle got inverted, and this happened like in the early to mid 80s. So the first thing you want to do is you want to establish a relationship, because remember, this is a relationship business. Then the next thing you want to do is, after you've done that, is now you want to ask questions. And we are going to spend a ton of time asking questions. So the first 3 lessons, not counting this one, but the next 3 lessons have to do with how you establish a relationship. Then the next 2 have to do with asking questions. And then lesson 6 is actually presenting your program. Actually, lessons 6 and 7 are presenting your program and making the decision, because in our scenario, these 2 go together. All right. Sometimes you have to have a little split time, but they work together in order to do your program. Now, one of the biggest questions I ask, oh, by the way, if you have any questions, because you're all on mute, put them up in the chat. And Alex, at the end, if we have any questions, Alex will come back and he'll ask me the questions and we can answer them. But the biggest question we always get is, how much time do you know how to spend in any one of these quadrants? And the answer is, there is no set time. It's however you feel is comfortable. Like, for sometimes it might take you 15, 20 minutes to establish a relationship. But as you're going to discover, there are a lot of people who really aren't interested in the relationship. They just want you to get to the facts and the figures and the data. So you might only spend 2 or 3 minutes with them asking your questions and then presenting your program. So all of this depends on where you are comfortable in that process. Once you feel you have gathered enough information, then it's just time to move on. And there's no set time for that. Okay, so now here's the process. This is how the sales program actually works. And this is not brain surgery and it's not rocket science. This is a simple 4-step process that is really, really easy to do. First thing you want to do is you want to establish a relationship like we did in the timing. Then the next thing you want to do is you want to ask your questions. Now, once you have done that, this is the crucial step in the process where you're going to make a summary statement. And this comes in lessons 3 and 4. But people a lot of times think that they have all the information, but they're not really sure. One of the things that I developed for me, for the best way for me to approach it, is when I walked into a sales prospect that I'd never met before, I had a whole bunch of questions I wanted to ask that I didn't know the answers to. And so all those questions had red flags in front of them. As I started talking and talking and talking, those red flags would turn to yellow flags, which meant I had some information, but I didn't have enough information. So I would keep going until all of those flags turned green. So once I had in my mind all of my flags had turned green, then I would summarize everything that we had talked about, everything. But even then, there's always one question that remains a red flag, and it's at the very bottom in my mind. It is, do I know enough? And so I would ask them, is there anything else? This is crucial to your success as a salesperson, because once you ask that question and they say no, then you make your presentation. They can't very well come back and say, well, you didn't cover this. Well, if you recall, I asked you if there was anything else and you said no. So let's address it right now. What you're trying to do is take away excuses for them not to buy from you. Because the very first decision people make is not whether they're going to buy from you. The very first decision they're going to make, am I going to continue to listen to what this person has to tell me? That's their very first decision. Okay. So is there anything else? If the answer is yes, then you go back and you ask questions, you do another summary statement, and you keep going, you keep asking them, is there anything else, until you get no. Once you get no, then you can move on to the presentation. Now, one little caution here. If you're working on a complex proposal, let's say that you have a family reunion and people have to get together from all over the country and you've got to coordinate everything, or it's a complex sale where they're doing pre and post on a cruise and they haven't figured out the cruise that they're going to take yet, you may have to pause and stop the conversation right there, because you're going to have been taking tons and tons of notes. And I'm going to have some forms for you in lesson 6 where you can fill out asking questions and then getting the answers to them. So you're going to, during all this time that you're talking, you're going to be taking notes so that you can summarize. And it may take you, it's not going to be appropriate if you've got a lot of things to organize to put into a coherent sales presentation. You're going to need a day or two to go back to your office and make that happen. So at that point, you're going to stop the conversation and you're going to say, okay, I've got everything I need. It's going to take me 2 days. So today's Tuesday. Can we get together again on Thursday or whenever is convenient for you? And then you set up a time. You go back, you make your you organize your presentation, you give it to them, and then together you come to a decision as to whether or not they are going to actually choose to do business with you. That's the process of selling. It's not, like I said, it's not rocket science. It's not brain surgery. It's an organized, logical way to get from point A, where you're getting to know them, to point B, where you decide to do business together. All right. So now that we've gone through that, I'm going to give you a couple of little keys that I think will help you as we go along this process. this hidden key to your success is it's called the 5 golden minutes. And I want you to actually copy these questions down and put them in a Word document or something where you can print it off and put it in your binder so that you can, every time you make a presentation or a sales call, you can refer to this. The 5 golden minutes is something that we developed at Walsworth Publishing to help the salespeople understand the process and figure out, how can I become a better salesperson? That's what this is for. This whole thing is designed to improve your selling skills. And again, what we're trying to do is avoid sales insanity, which is, I keep doing the same thing over and over again, but I keep expecting different results. The 5 golden minutes is going to help you to not go crazy in your sales process. So the first thing you're going to ask yourself is, what did I do right? Then the next thing is, what did I do wrong? And by the way, you're going to know both of these almost immediately. It's amazing. Man, that really worked well. Or, wow, I'm not doing that again. That was a terrible way to go about that. And you'll know when it happens. What could I have done better? Kind of goes along with, what did I do wrong? So what did I do wrong is going to be immediately followed. Okay, how could I do that better? And make some notes while they're fresh in your mind. Now, this question right here, what did I miss? If you did, this is tied directly to the summary statement. Do I know enough? Is there anything else? If you have to write something down and what did I miss, chances are pretty good you're not going to get a sale, because you're going to have to go back and ask that question, and they're going to think, well, how good are you really at your job? So just keep in mind, what did I miss is tied directly to, do I have enough information? Marry those two up in your mind, and you should never, ever, ever have to answer this question. Now, did I get a referral is in parentheses, and you're not going to do this after every sales call. Typically, this happens at the very end when you're getting set to wrap things up. But getting a referral is the nothing ventured, nothing gained. If you do business, if they decide to do business with you, you're going to want to say, hey, I'm really glad that you're excited about working with me. Do you know anybody else that might be interested in what we have to offer? You've got to ask that question, because that's going to, referrals is how you build your business. But here's the fun part. Let's say that they decide that they're going to go in a different direction, and they don't want to do business with you. What's just as fun sometimes is, because they're not expecting it, says, man, I'm really sorry that we weren't able to come together on this proposal. Do you know anybody in your group of friends or acquaintances who might be interested in what it is that we do, or what it is we have to offer? Now, some people, because they feel guilty for not doing business with you, are going to throw you a name or two. Or they might say, well, yeah, let me think about it. So anyway, that's what either way, you've got to ask for a referral. And then finally, did I send a thank you note? Now, thank you notes can vary from Instagram, emails, TikToks, Facebook postings, the easy ones, to or a phone call, which steps it up a little bit, to the coup de grace, which is, because people don't do this anymore, is send them a handwritten thank you note, which is very appropriate at the very end of the sale. Thank you for doing business with us. You know anybody else? Put your card in there. Say, do you know anybody else that might be interested? Or, you know what? I'm sorry we couldn't do business, but I want to thank you for giving me your time. And if your needs ever come up, or you're not happy under your current situation, think of us. I know you're taking a trip, so how about if I call you 6 months after your trip to see how it went, and see if there's anything I might be able to help you with down the road. Just because you lost them the first time doesn't mean you're going to give up on them. In my pipeline, I had A clients, B clients, and C clients. My A clients were my hot prospects. My B prospects were the people that were kind of on the fence with their current provider. And my C project, those are my long-term projects that I made a call on every year. And there was like, I had like 5 or 6 schools and it took me 10 years to get them. But once I got them, I never lost them because I was persistent. I was pleasantly persistent. So the thank you note goes a long, long way to really helping solidify and gain you exposure and respect within the industry. Now, the other hidden key to your success, and a lot of people don't know this, and this is something that if you try to do digital presentations, this is going to be the biggest reason why you're never going to get a sale. You never, ever, ever in this lifetime leave the timing of any decision up to the client. And it's going to happen. You're going to come to a logical break where you're going to go back and make a presentation, or you're at the end of the presentation and they're going to say, well, that's an interesting proposal. Let me think about it. So, and you just say, okay, I'll get back to you. If you leave that up to them, you stand a 90% chance that they are not going to get back to you because they're going to get distracted. They're going to move on to something else. They're going to find somebody else that, you know, it's kind of like the dog looking at the squirrel, you know, and then he sees another squirrel. Well, you don't want to be that squirrel. You want to be the squirrel that gets back to him. Say, okay, Mr. Dog, I'm your squirrel. Let's get together. I want to work with you on, let's have some fun here. So make sure that when you do not leave without a confirmed appointment for your next visit. And you just need to be very pleasant. And if they say, and what will happen is, well, I just need to think about this. Great. I understand there's a lot to process. I'm here right now. Can you share with me some of the things that you're going to be thinking about? Maybe we can resolve them right here. Or they say, no, I just need to think about it. So your next question would be, okay, how long do you think it will take you to reach some sort of a conclusion? Oh, I need about a day or two. So tell you what, let's set an appointment for 2 days from now, and you can share with me all your thoughts, and then we can go from there. You have to do whatever it takes and ask whatever questions it is for you to get that confirmed appointment for the next time. This right here is going to, my phrase for it is being pleasantly persistent. That's what you need to do. So absorb this, take a look at it, print it out, tape it to your mirror, tape it to your car dash, tape it to your forehead. Never, ever leave the timing of any decision up to the client. Okay, so now this is in the back of the manual. There are 17 skills here. These are the skills that we're going to be teaching you today and in the next 6 weeks. And you'll see right here, 5 golden minutes, and you make all the timing decisions. But you will also notice that in establishing a relationship, look at all the skills that we're going to be talking about here, about how you get together, get on the same page with them. Ran a little long today, but it's usually that way for the first one. So, Alex, do we have any questions from the chat room? Oh. Okay, wonderful people. If you want to get a head start on next week's lesson, which you're going to have to do, I want you to download the manual and I want you to print out the chart. Hold on a second. I want you to print out the chart on page 9. Okay. So read what's in page. Take a prior look at lesson 2 because we're going to spend a lot of time filling this out because this is going to be really important as to developing how you're going to approach your people. So if you could take a look at the lesson and then fill out the chart, follow the directions on the chart, and then I'll explain it even further next week. But if you want to get a head start on that, that would be a good place to go. So that's it for today. Sorry it took me and we ran a little long, but I am really excited to be part of your lives for the next 6 more weeks. And I'll see you guys same time, same place next week. See you later.
Definitely excited to get this going for you guys. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Mike at archertravel.com. And yeah, no, appreciate everything, Mike. We'll see you next time.
All right, guys. See you later.